I woke up screaming in a body that wasn't mine. The stench of stale cigarettes and unwashed sheets choking me like a noose. My name is Poppy Harrington. Or it was heiress to a fortune built on steel and secrets, but now I was trapped in the husk of Lila Voss, a junkie who'd OD'd in a Bronx alley 2 nights ago. And the bastards who did this to me? My fiancé Victor and my own blood. My sister Elise, who'd swapped our souls in a black market neural lab to pin their murder on me. Before the gala, they said, "Don't embarrass us." Poppy whispered it like a prayer over caviar and Chardonnay at the Harrington Hall fundraiser. They didn't know the building bore my name, etched in gold above the marble steps where I'd once glided like a queen. But tonight, in this stolen skin, I'd walk those steps again, and the embarrassment would be theirs, final, fatal, and forever. The first thing I felt wasn't rage. It was the itch. Lila's veins crawled with whatever cocktail of fentanyl and despair she'd mainlined last, and every nerve ending fired like live wires under my command. I bolted upright on the sagging mattress in that godforsaken flop house, the walls papered in peeling flyers for bail bondsmen and methadone clinics. Her hands clawed at the air, nails bitten to bloody stubs, and I retched into a bucket that smelled like vomit and regret. Poppy, the voice was mine, but the reflection in the cracked mirror across the room wasn't. Hollow cheeks, stringy brown hair matted with grease, eyes like piss holes in the snow, Lila Voss, 32, DOA at Bellevue ER. Or so the papers would say if anyone gave a shit about her. Me? I'd been Poppy Harrington, 28, darling of the tabloids, the steel magnolia of Wall Street, as Forbes dubbed me last spring. Engaged to Victor Langford, scion of Langford Pharmaceuticals, rubbing elbows with senators at galas where the ice sculptures cost more than a year's rent in this shithole. How did it happen? Flashback to 2 nights ago, the private jet from Aspen. Victor's hand on my thigh. Elise's laugh tinkling like wind chimes as we toasted our perfect family. We'd landed at Teterboro, slipped into the city under cover of a snow squall. Victor had a surprise, a cutting-edge demo of neural mapping tech his company was peddling to the military. Mind uploading? Babe, he grinned, that wolfish smile that used to make my knees weak. Imagine backups of the elite, swapping bodies like outfits. Immortality for the 1%. Elise, my twin, fraternal. But we'd always been 2 sides of the same gilded coin, had egged him on. Try it, Pop. For science. For us. We'd laughed it off at first, strapped into those egg-shaped pods in the sub-basement lab beneath Langford Tower. Harmless fun, right? Until the alarms blared, the texts scattered, and I felt my essence unravel like thread from a spool, pulled, twisted, slammed into darkness. When I came to, it was in this body, sirens wailing outside, paramedics pumping Lila's chest as she flatlined from an overdose they'd staged. Victor and Elise, they'd bolted, leaving behind a trail of evidence, my fingerprints on the syringe, my DNA spliced into the security cams via some deepfake bullshit. The crime? Not just the swap, the murder of Dr. Harlan Crow, the whistleblower who'd threatened to expose Langford's illegal human trials. Crow had been dosed with the same junk in my name, his body dumped in the East River with a note in my handwriting. Loose ends tied. Betrayal doesn't get deeper than your lover and sister framing you for homicide to cover their empire of black market body snatching. Langford Pharma wasn't just pills, it was playing God, swapping consciousnesses for the ultra-rich, senators evading death, CEOs dodging scandals. And me? I'd been their perfect patsy. The trusting heiress who'd signed off on R&D funding without reading the fine print. I'd taken the fall for their sins. My life erased in a blink, my soul crammed into a corpse. But Poppy Harrington doesn't stay down. Not even in a junkie skin. I stumbled to the window, peering through grimy blinds at the Bronx street below, hookers stamping feet against the cold, a dealer slinging baggies from a stoop, cop cars prowling like sharks. My phone, no. Lila's burner, buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Labs clean. Cops bought the OD story. Gala tomorrow, play nice. Or we leak the vids. Vids of what? Me. In this body. Ranting like a lunatic? Or worse. The deepfakes showing Poppy confessing to Crow's hit. Fuck them. I needed a plan. Allies. A way back. First, intel. Lila's phone had contacts, shady ones. A hacker named Jax, who owed her for a score. I dialed, voice rasping like sandpaper. Jax? It's Lila. Need a favor. Deep dive on Langford Pharma. Neural swaps. Now. His laugh was a bark. Lila, thought you were toast. What's the play? Tell you later. Send everything to this drop. I rattled off an anonymous email. Minutes later, files flooded in, schematics of the neural pods, trial logs naming Victor and Elise as architects. Crow had been onto them, proof of swaps on unwilling subjects, bodies harvested from the streets like organ farms. Lila Voss? She'd been next. A vagrant snatched for calibration. But they'd botched it. Or maybe not, using her husk to bury me alive. I showered in the communal stall, scalding water stripping away the grime. But not the itch. Lila's tattoos crawled up her arms, barbed wire and faded roses, reminders this wasn't temporary. The swap was one way without the reversal code, buried in Langford's vaults. I dressed in her threadbare jeans and hoodie, pocketed a switchblade from under the mattress, and hit the streets. Subway to Midtown. $2.75 that burned like fire, money I'd never thought twice about as Poppy. The city blurred past, Times Square's neon assault, tourists gaping at the rocket's previews. I kept my head down, but paranoia gnawed. Every suit in a trench coat could be Victor's PI. By noon, I was in a cyber cafe off 8th, Jax's files open on a borrowed laptop. Blueprints showed the lab's backdoor, a service elevator from the alley behind Langford Tower. Security? Biometrics, retina. Voice. Poppy's prints. But I had Lila's. Controversial decision 1. Steal an identity to forge another. I hit up Jax again. Need a ghost. Fake creds for the gala. Harrington guest list. Risky. Girl. Feds are crawling Langford after Crow's splash. Do it. An hour later, a badge for Elena Voss, +1 to the Harrington Hall benefit. My own hall, donated by Daddy, in '05. Now a venue for the elite to pat themselves on the back for philanthropy while screwing the poor. Night fell like a guillotine. I cabbed to a thrift shop on the Bowery, scored a knockoff gown, emerald silk that hung loose on Lila's frame. But with pins and attitude, it worked. Makeup from a Dwayne Reed, concealer over the tracks, lipstick to fake fullness. Mirror check, passable. Haunted, but passable. The gala loomed on 5th Avenue, Harrington Hall's facade glowing under floodlights. My name blazing in Art Deco letters. Limos disgorged the 1%, heiresses in Dior, moguls with Rolexes that could feed a family for a year. I flashed the badge at the velvet rope, heart hammering. The guard scanned it, beep, and waved me through. Inside, opulence on steroids. Chandeliers dripping crystals like frozen tears. String quartet sawing Vivaldi. Waiters circulating foie gras on silver trays. And there they were, Victor, tuxedo sharp as a stiletto, arm around Elise in sapphire chiffon, her blonde waves cascading like she owned the world, which, thanks to me, she almost did. They laughed with a cluster of donors, toasting innovation in medicine. I slunk to the bar, ordered a gin neat, Lila's poison, but it steadied the shakes. Eavesdropped, whispers of the tragic Harrington scandal, my disappearance spun as a breakdown. Estate in probate. Victor's stock had spiked 15% on rumors of a merger. Bastards. Controversial decision, too. Poison the well. I palmed a vial from Jack's. Undetectable neurotoxin. Crow's own formula. Meant for the pods, but perfect for a toast. Slipped it into the communal punch as the caterer turned. Not lethal, yet. Just enough to fuzz their edges. Make them slip. Then, the approach. I waited till Victor peeled off for a cigar on the balcony. Stepped into a shadow. Voice low. Miss me? Darling. He spun. Cigar dropping ash. Who the? It's me.
Vic. Poppy.
In here. I tapped Lila's temple. Eyes locked. His face drained, recognition dawning like dawn over a grave. Impossible. The swap. Botched? Or brilliant? You thought you'd bury me in this trash heap. I stepped closer, breath mingling with his cologne. Crow knew. He had the codes. You killed him for it. He recovered. Smile oily. Delusional junkie. Security. But I was faster, grabbed his wrist. Nails digging. Call them. Explain why your fiancé's soul is squatting in a DOA's body. Or better, why the SEC is about to drop your trial logs on every news desk from here to DC. Bluff. But it landed. His eyes darted guilt. Calculation. What do you want? Reversal.
Now.
Or I crash this party with truths that'll make Watergate look like a pillow fight. He laughed.
Bitter. Can't.
Elise has the key. And the hall's wired. Cops everywhere. Liar. But it bought time. I released him, melting into the crowd as sirens wailed distant, routine. Or not. Elise caught my eye across the room, brow furrowing. She knew. Twins' intuition. Or something darker. The night spiraled. I danced with ghosts, old acquaintances who air-kissed cheeks without recognition, toasting poor Poppy like I was already dust. The toxin hit. Victor slurred a speech about bridging minds. Elise giggled at nothing. Donors murmuring about too much bubbly. Climax brewed in the coat room. I cornered Elise. Door locked. Her back to the fur wraps. Sister dear. Remember our game? Hide and seek in the estate gardens? This time, I'm it. She whirled. Clutch spilling lipstick. Lila, how did you? Poppy. You bitch. You held the needle on Crow. For what? Vic's cock? The shares. Her face twisted. Hate. Not remorse. You were always the golden girl.
Pop.
Daddy's favorite. The name on the building. I got scraps. This? It's justice. You signed the waivers. Ignored the rumors. I trusted you. Trust is for suckers. She lunged, nails raking my cheek, drawing blood that wasn't mine. We grappled. Silk tearing. Heels skidding on marble. Controversial decision 3. Fight dirty. I need her gut. Blade flashing from my garter, Lila's shank. Now Poppy's equalizer. Not to kill, but to mark, a shallow slice across her palm. Blood blooming on the carpet. She screamed, but I clamped a hand over her mouth. The code.
Elise.
Or I carve your pretty lies into your skin. Tears. Then whispers. The reversal sequence. Memorized from the lab. But as she spoke, Victor burst in, security in tow. Tasers humming. Take her, he barked. They swarmed, cuffs biting Lila's wrists. But I laughed, blood trickling. Too late.
Vic.
Jack's already leaked it all. Check your phone. He did, face ashen. Headline scrolling, Langford Pharma body swap scandal. Heiress Harrington key witness? Deepfakes reversed. My voice from the grave outing their sins. Cops hauled me out. Gala erupting in chaos, flashes popping. Guests fleeing like rats. Victor and Elise detained on site. The punch bowl's secret turning stomachs.
Me?
Interrogated in a holding cell, but the truth unraveled fast. Neural scans confirmed it. Poppy's engrams in Voss's brain. Reversal prepped at a federal lab by dawn. But here's the twist, the one that flips the script and leaves you arguing in the comments. I knew. All along. Crow wasn't a whistleblower. He was my lover. The one who'd whispered warnings in the dark. I'd greenlit the trials. Not out of naivety, but ambition, to swap into a better body. Ageless. Enhanced. Victor and Elise? Pawns in my game. Until they flipped the pod on me mid-swap. Thinking they'd steal the throne. Or did they? The logs Jack sent, faked by me, through back channels. The leak? Timed perfectly. In the end, as the needle pricked for reversal, Elise leaned close in the sterile room. You started it.
Pop.
For him. For power. And I smiled, fading back to my skin. Happy ending? Justice served. Empire crumbling. Or tragedy, another Harrington schemer. Dooming us all? You decide. The building still bears my name, but now it's a tomb. The reversal hit like a freight train, colors bleeding back into focus. My real fingers flexing under crisp hospital sheets. The sterile tang of bleach replacing Lila's rot.
I was Poppy again.
Flesh and bone. Staring up at fluorescent buzz as feds hovered like vultures. MS. Harrington, the lead agent drawled, badge glinting. Care to explain why your neural signature was dancing in a dead woman's head? I croaked a laugh, throat raw from intubation. Start with Victor Langford. He can fill in the blanks. They had him in cuffs down the hall. Elise, too, her screams echoing through the vents like a bad opera. The gala fallout was biblical, CNN looping footage of the melee. Donors suing for emotional distress, the mayor distancing himself faster than a politician at a scandal buffet. Langford stock cratered 40% pre-market. Whispers of congressional probes turning to roars. But freedom? Not yet. They grilled me for hours, polygraphs beeping like angry hornets. Lawyers circling like sharks. My attorney. A silver-haired shark named Harlan, no relation. But the irony stung. Spun it gold. Victim narrative. Coerced into trials. Mind-raped by her own kin. Trauma, he called it. Billing daddy's estate by the minute. The feds bought it mostly. Released me on my own recognizance. Ankle monitor humming like a jealous lover. First stop, the estate upstate. Harrington Manor. That sprawling Tudor pile on the Hudson where I'd learned to ride horses and hate family dinners. The staff buzzed, Mrs. Greeley, the housekeeper who'd powdered my scraped knees, now fussing with chamomile tea and poor dear murmurs. I showered off the jail grime, emerging in cashmere that hugged like an old friend. Mirror, porcelain skin, auburn waves, green eyes sharp as emeralds. Poppy Harrington.
Reborn.
But the itch lingered, not drugs, but doubt. Elise's words in the swap pod, "You started it," flashed to 6 months back. Victor's penthouse. Crow tangled in the sheets beside me. This tech. Pop, it's Frankenstein shit. Unwilling swaps. Harvesting the homeless. Your signature on the docs makes you complicit. I'd kissed his protest away. For progress.
Harlan.
Imagine curing paralysis. Extending lives. The board's on board.
Lie.
It was for me, the vanity of perfection. The fear of daddy's cancer claiming me next. I'd bury the ethics memos. Greased palms. Turned blind eyes. Victor? He'd sniffed opportunity. Roped in Elise for her biochem chops. The betrayal cut deep because I built the noose they hang me with. Revenge Phase 2. Dismantle from within. I called an emergency board meeting at Harrington Enterprises, steel mills in Pittsburgh. Skyscrapers dotting the Rust Belt. My inheritance, a $2.3 billion beast. The suits assembled in the oak-paneled boardroom. Faces like weathered granite. Gentlemen, I purred. Sliding dossiers across the table. Langford's merger proposal?
Dead.
Along with their CEO. Murmurs rippled. Victor had pitched it as synergy. Pharma brains plus Harrington brawn.
Now.
With leaks painting him as a soul thief. The room soured. I dropped the bomb. I've acquired 15% of Langford shares through proxies. Hostile takeover imminent.
Gasps.
Controversial? Hell yes, raiding a crippled rival while the ink dried on indictments. But American as apple pie, capitalism's jungle law. By week's end, we swallowed them whole. Victor, from a Rikers cell, watched his empire dissolve on Bloomberg. Elise, bailed out, but disbarred from labs. Her PhD a punchline. I visited her in a midtown coffee shop. Rain lashing the windows like judgment. She looked small, no chiffon armor. Just yoga pants and defeat. You won, she spat, stirring sugar into black sludge. Happy now? Golden girl? Not yet. I slid a USB across the Formica. Reversal codes. Full access. Undo what you did to the others, the swaps on the streets. Her eyes narrowed.
Why?
Mercy? Insurance.
Feds get wind of my
Enthusiasm.
and you're the fall guy.
Again. She pocketed it. Sneer curling. Always the manipulator. Daddy knew. That's why he named the building after you. To bury me deeper. Twist of the knife, Daddy hadn't. The plaque? A forgery. Commissioned by Elise to spite me after his will cut her out. Secret unearthed in probate. She'd forged docs. Siphoned funds. Betrayal squared. I left her to the rain. Drove the Bentley back to the city, top down. Wind whipping like freedom. But tension coiled. Jax called. Feds sniffing my trail. And Victor? He's lawyered up. Claiming you orchestrated the whole swap. Evidence. Bluff holding. But cracks showing. I needed leverage. Dirt on the untouchables who'd backed Langford. Enter the gala's ghost owners. Senator Hale, arms dealer extraordinaire, who towed the neural line for veteran rehab. I crashed his fundraiser at the plaza, uninvited, but in vintage Chanel. Who questions? Harrington, he boomed, cigar smoke haloing his paunch.
Heard you rose from the dead.
Whiskey. We retreated to a alcove, velvet curtains muffling the jazz. Senator, your pack funneled $5 mill to Langford trials. Unwilling subjects, vets. Mostly. Photos exist. His jowls quivered. Blackmail? Classy. Even for you. Insurance, I echoed Elise. Testify against Victor. Or the pics hit WikiLeaks. Your choice. He chose wisely, statement drafted by Dawn. Hale flipping like a pancake. Victor's trial ballooned. Conspiracy. Racketeering. Human trafficking via souls. Elise cut a deal. Ratting on the network, pods hidden in clinics from LA to Miami.
Me?
Hero in the press. Heiress exposes body swap horror. Talk shows beckoned. Book deals whispered. But the dark? It festered. Nightmares of Lila's face overlaying mine. Her voice echoing, what now? Rich bitch? Steal another life? Controversial decision 4. Mercy kill. Not literal, reach out to the swapped. Jax traced a dozen. A Wall Street wolf in a nurse's body. A starlet trapped in a trucker's. I funded reversals off books. Black market labs shuttered under federal raids. 1. A kid named Marco, ex-gangbanger in a professor's skin, tracked me to a safe house in Queens. You did this, he growled. Fists balled. Latino fire in Ivy League tweed. Helped fix it. I handed him a check, enough for a fresh start. He pocketed it, eyes hard. Heard the rumors. You weren't just duped. You funded the first trials. For kicks, truth serum time. Ambition.
Fear.
Stupidity. Take your pick. He nodded. Slow. Then pay up. Not cash, pull strings. Get my niece out of juvie. Wrong place. Wrong color. Deals struck. Strings pulled. But each favor chipped at the pedestal. Poppy the savior. Or Poppy the puppeteer. Climax redux. Victor's arraignment. Federal courthouse. Rain-slick steps swarming paparazzi. I testified, poised. Unflinching, detailing the pod's hum. The unraveling. He stole my life, I said, voice steady. Jury ate it up. But in the hallway recess, Victor cornered me, shackles rattling, eyes feral. You think you won? The twist. Poppy, Crow wasn't your lover. He was mine. And you? You killed him. Jealousy. The memos? Your orders. Liar? Or truth? My stomach lurched, memories fuzzy. Swapped echoes lingering. Had I dosed him? Mid-fight. To silence the threats? Elise's whisper. You started it. Gavel fell. Guilty. Life. No parole. Victor dragged away. Grinning like the devil. Check the safe.
Babe.
Your signature. I did. Langford Vault. Pried open by feds. There, my handwriting. Authorizing Crow's relocation. Forgery?
Or me.
The building bore my name. But now it mocked me, Harrington Hall. Hall of Mirrors. Months blurred into a haze of depositions and detox, not from drugs, but the soul scars. Therapy sessions in Park Avenue suites. Shrinks probing like dentists. MS. Harrington. Describe the dissociation. I'd laugh.
Bitter.
Like wearing someone else's underwear. Itchy. Ill-fitting. Impossible to ignore. Lila's ghost haunted the edges. Cravings at 3 a.m. Phantom tracks itching under silk sleeves. The reversal had mended the neural bridges. But bridges scar. Publicly, I was untouchable. Oprah booked me for a primetime tell-all, swapped. A heiress's nightmare. Ratings gold me. Teary-eyed. Decrying the commodification of consciousness. Book deal followed. Soul Thief. Ghost-ridden pablum hitting NYT lists. Harrington Enterprises boomed, rebranded Ethical Forge, pivoting to green steel. My face on Forbes again. Phoenix from the pods. Privately, paranoia festered. Victor's taunt nod. The safe stocks. Forensics said authentic my loops and crosses. Authorizing Crow's hit. Relocation. Euphemism for a river grave. Had I. Late nights. Wine glass trembling. I'd sift memories. Aspen Chalet. Crow's hand in mine. Then blackout. Jealousy? Victor's affair rumors. Elise's whispers. Or worse. Ambition's cold calculus. One loose end. I'd thought. Signing blindly. Controversial Decision 5. Exhume the truth. I hired PIs. Ex-Mossad types. No questions asked, to dig into Crow's last days. Trail led to a dive bar in Hell's Kitchen. Bartender with a lazy eye and grudges. Harlan? Yeah. He came and hammered. Ranting about the bitch, you. I figure. Said you'd sell him out for the throne. My throne. Daddy's empire. Willed to me alone after he sniffed Elise's forgeries. Betrayal's roots ran deep, sibling rivalry festering since pigtails. Me the poised debutante. Her the wild card. She'd clawed back with Victor. Their affair a open secret I'd ignored for family peace. But Crow? My confessor. The ethical anchor. Had I cut him loose? PI report dropped the bomb. Security cam stills from the lab night. Not deepfakes, raw footage. In pearls and pencil skirt. Injecting Crow myself. His eyes. Pleading. Poppy. Don't. Fade to black as guards dragged him out. Vomit rose. Hot and acidic. I'd done it. For the merger. The power. The illusion of control. The swap. Victor's revenge. Poetic justice. Trapping me in the body of the forgotten. The disposable. Elise complicit. But I'd lit the fuse. Rage reignited. Darker now, self-loathing's bastard child. Revenge evolved, not destruction. But exposure. Full Monty. I leaked the footage anonymously, WikiLeaks drop. Timed for Victor's appeal hearing. Headline screamed, Heiress's dark secret. Did Poppy Harrington murder whistleblower? Fallout?
Tsunami.
Board ousted me. Emergency vote. Moral hazard. Estate frozen. Lawyers circling like hyenas. Paparazzi camped my stoop. Chants of soul killer echoing off the brownstone. Elise? She surfaced in a tell-all of her own. Vanity Fair spread. My sister's sins. Painted me the villain. Ambitious monster. Puppeteer of pods. I fled to the cabin in the Adirondacks. Daddy's old hunting lodge. Pine walls. Stone hearth. Isolation like a bomb. Stocked with bourbon and broadband. I plotted Phase 3. Burn it all. But tension mounted. Threats scrawled on mail. Swap you back.
Bitch.
Jack's ghosted. PI's turncoat. Feeding to the tabs. One storm-lashed night. Power flickering. The door crashed open. Victor escaped? No. Hallucination? No, Elise. Drenched, wild-eyed, Glock trembling in her grip. You leaked it. Ruined us both.
Us.
I rose slow, poker from the fire in hand. You framed me. Stole my body. She advanced, rain dripping. You killed him. Harlan loved me.
Not you.
The affair? Cover for his exit plan, whistle blowing together. You found out. Dosed him to shut his mouth. Twist inverted. Crow hers. My jealousy the spark. But her eyes, guilt's flicker. Or did you? Victor said you knew. The memos, your push for trials. We circled the hearth. Flames, dancing shadows. Controversial decision 6. Confess or kill. I signed. I admitted. Blind. Stupid. But the injection?
Foggy.
Swap scrambled it all. Liar. She raised the gun. But thunder masked the shot, winging my shoulder. Fire blooming. I swung the poker, connecting with her wrist, crack of bone, Glock skittering. We tumbled, nails and curses, blood mingling on the rug. Truth clawed out amid gasps. Elise had dosed Crow. Mid-quarrel, jealous of his soft spot for me. The ethical talks we'd shared. Victor covered, framing me via the dockside signed. The swap, their panic, move, botched to bury the body count. I hated you, she sobbed, poker at her throat. Always the name on the building. I pressed, hard enough to bruise. Then end it.
Shoot.
She didn't. Dropped the weapon. Broken.
Can't.
We're the same poison. Cops came at dawn. Anonymous tip. Jack's redeemed. Elise arrested for assault. The gun traced to Victor's stash.
Me?
Wounded warrior. Spinning victim again. But the leak's damage stuck. Harrington Hall renamed Equity Plaza in a settlement. My name scrubbed like graffiti. Revenge's hollow core yawned. Victor's appeal denied. Life in Supermax. Elise plea bargained. 10 years. Therapy mandated.
Me?
Rebuilt. Smaller, consulting gigs on ethics and tech. Speaking fees funding reversals for the swapped. Lila Voss's family sued. Settled quiet, her life insurance a pittance. But closure. Yet the itch returned, not veins, but conscience. Late nights. I wandered the city. Hood up. Blending with the ghosts I'd exploited. Bronx alleys. Where Lila breathed her last. Sorry, I whispered to the wind. Twist shadow. What if the swap fixed nothing? Power's illusion. Soul swapped or not. Happy? Empire ashes. But free. Tragic? Monster unmasked. Forever arguing my sins. The gala's echo. Don't embarrass us. I hadn't. I'd eviscerated. A year on, the dust settled into a gritty normalcy. Poppy 2.0. Leaner. Meaner. Wiser in the ways of wolves. The brownstone sold. Proceeds to a foundation. Voss Initiative. Neural ethics for the voiceless. I crashed in a walk-up in Brooklyn, exposed brick. Subway rumble like a lullaby, trading caviar for ramen. But sleep came easier. No more silk sheets haunted by phantoms. Public redemption arc? Patchy. TED Talk went viral, the cost of consciousness, me, scarred shoulder peeking from a blouse. Preaching, text dark underbelly. Applause thundered. But comment seethed, hypocrite. Murderer in Manolos. Debatable legacy. Just as the prompt demanded, hero or harpy.
You tell me.
Victor rotted in ADX Florence, the Alcatraz of the Rockies, solitary his new swap. Mind fracturing without empire. Letters smuggled out, ravings of betrayal. Pleas for visits. I burned them unread. Elise, club fed, in minimum security, penning a memoir that flopped, swapped sisters, blood and bites. We corresponded. Terse notes on legal pads, recipes, weather, the occasional sorry scratched out. But tension simmered, loose threads unraveling. Jax resurfaced. Voice distorted on a burner app. Feds closed the pod network. But stragglers. Rich fucks still swapping in Belize bunkers. Ewan. Controversial Decision 7. Dive back in. Not for revenge, but reckoning. I wired funds. Flew coach to Miami. First class a ghost of excess. Linking with ex-Langford techs gone rogue. Safe house in the Everglades. Humidity thick as guilt. Cicadas screaming secrets. The raid? Adrenaline opera. Pods humming in a stilted shack. Elites mid-swap. A hedge funder into a model's husk. A judge fleeing senility. We stormed, me with a taser. Jax hacking overrides, snapping reversals like rubber bands. The chaos. Screams in borrowed voices. Bodies convulsing as souls snapped back. One pod. Familiar face. Senator Hale. Consciousness fleeing into a bellhop's frame. Harrington, he wheezed. Eyes bulging. You again? Full circle. Senator. I triggered the flush, his essence yanked. Original body slumping. He woke gasping. 70 years folding like origami. Mercy, he croaked. Justice. Feds tipped anonymously. Hale's empire next to crumble. Back stateside. The high faded, crash landing in therapy's couch. Why risk it? The shrink prodded. Glasses perched like judgment. Absolution, I muttered. Or addiction. Power's the real drug. She nodded. Clock ticking. But the real twist brewed in bloodwork. Anomalies from the swap. Neural echoes. Lila's cravings mutating into mine. Scans showed hybrid engrams. Poppy's poise laced with Lila's grit. Ambitions tempered by street smarts. Was I whole? Or forever fractured? Climax final. The dedication. Equity Plaza. Ex-Harrington Hall. Ribbon cutting for a neural rights museum. I stood on the steps. Wind off fifth whipping my coat. Crowd murmuring. Mayor droned platitudes. Donors preened. My speech?
Raw.
Ladies and gentlemen, this building once bore my name, a monument to hubris.
Tonight.
It's yours, testament to the stolen, the swapped, the silenced. Pauses for effect. Eyes scanning faces, survivors in the front row. Marco's niece beaming. I was complicit. Betrayed. Yes, but betrayer too. We chase immortality, but lose our souls. Debate me, villain or victim. The truth?
Both.
And neither. Applause fractured, some standing, others stone-faced. Elise watched from the crowd. Parole early for cooperation, her nod a truce. Victor? Broadcast from prison. A pre-recorded fuck you leaked online. Laughter rippled. Dark. Cathartic. After party?
None.
I walked alone to the Met, donating the gala gown, tattered relic, to archives. Bench in Central Park. City hum like a heartbeat. Phone buzz, Jax. One more pod. Off-grid. Your call. I deleted the message. No more games.
The itch?
Scratched raw. But healing. Ending. not tidy bow, but ragged edge. Happy monsters caged, voices amplified, me mended in mosaic. By kitsch, echoes eternal, powers poison undiluted, legacy a lightning rod for endless arguments. Before the gala, they said don't embarrass us. I didn't. I exposed us, all of us. The building no longer bore my name, but its shadow did, long, unyielding, inviting you to step in and judge. What say you? Hero's arc, or villain's veil? The swap taught me, truth's the ultimate revenge, slippery, subjective, forever contested.